If people were upset about Cleveland's name change, they can now worry about what Minnesota is going to do with their baseball team, because after this sweep over the weekend, there are no W's to be found in the word Twins. Let's get into the Guardians sweep over Minnesota on today's Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show today. We have a lot of fun things to talk about. How can you not enjoy a sweep of the Twins? I pointed this out in the now, but I got to point out again, not counting that small sweep, which is technically a series that is not complete, I believe, with Cleveland and Minnesota. They got their second sweep today on May 19th. Last year, they got only 2 sweeps all year, and the last one happened on September 17th. So it's a little bit different. May to September. So I will certainly take it. Today gave us some heart palpitations, but we got through it. And can I also petition that between nearly decapitating Tyler Freeman and then not throwing the ball today, that we revoke the nickname The Professor from Brian Rocchio? At least in the majors, that nickname has been maybe the least applicable nickname I have seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, some of it for 8 innings, there was no worries. I mean, it was a close game for 8 innings, but the 9th inning was very bizarre. We'll get into that a little bit down further in segment 1, but all good vibes this weekend. There's no reason to be down. This is all good vibes. I mean, Friday night, packed crowd, fun game, well-pitched game from Tristan McKenzie. Well, Tristan McKenzie bobbed and weaved his way into the 7th inning, which was good. A lot of double plays. That was fun. Very, very aggressive approach against Simeon Woods Richardson, who, I don't know, I've been up and down on over the years as a prospect, but only 2 strikeouts. Again, we've been saying for a while now about this lack of patience, but hey, it all worked out in the end this weekend. I mean, the Guardians won in different ways, which we're going to talk about, but a sweep of, I'm almost going to say now, the Twins are not the biggest threat to the division. Is it the Royals? I don't know. It's too soon to say, but the Twins look like they are not as good as, I don't say they're as good. They're probably a better offense than the Royals, but it was a bad weekend for the Twins offense because of Guardians pitching. We'll talk about the umpiring a little bit, which was a little funny. But I don't know. You beat your division rivals for the most part for this year. Sold out crowds not sold out, I shouldn't say, but very good crowds for all 3 games. Not that it matters to us, but the merchandising lines I saw were packed all 3 games. Like they were selling out of all the City Connects. So people at the stadium, they're winning ball games in different ways. People are eating up the City Connect stuff. So however you feel about that, it's popular. No bad things this weekend. I mean, you got a little bit from everybody. The pitching was good. Jose had a fun weekend. You had a very funky walk-off win on Sunday. Like, all good vibes. This is the all good vibes train. So as last week we were talking about how annoying it was about the White Sox series. You went out and you took 2 or 3 from the Rangers in Texas, and you came home and you swept the team that was closest to you in the division, and now they're no longer the closest team in the division.
Would you have it any other way? Like, would you? Here's my question to people listening out there for the comments. Would you rather have swept the White Sox and then lost the series to the Twins? Technically, that would then have given you 1 more total win. Or would you rather have it this way, right? Like, because if it's just all things are equal, then no, you of course want to beat the team in your division. But would you rather have 1 extra win in having swept the White Sox and have only taken 1 to 3 from the Twins? I think I prefer the 2 or 3 from the Twins personally, but make sure you comment below and let me know what you think on that.
Yeah, weirdly enough, they are 3-4 against the White Sox, and they are 5-0 against the Twins. And they are 2-1 against Detroit. I haven't seen Kansas City yet, but so out of all the teams, that's the only team they have in baseball. Atlanta, they lost 2 or 3, and they lost 2 or 3 to Houston, but they lost 2 or 3 to New York. I don't know. There's not a lot of teams they have a bad record against, but the White Sox are the team they played 7 more than 3 games against, have a losing record against. That's fairly annoying. They've not scored the White Sox, which is good, but yeah, I don't know. That's a very good question. I think, like we said before, like, perception is all about timing. So you want to beat the bad teams, but you also want to beat the Twins because you think they're a direct threat to the division and coming into the year, we thought there was a slight chance the Guardians could win this division. And they're the third team to 30 wins this year, which doesn't guarantee you anything other than you'll play competitive baseball for a majority of the year. Like you'll still be in the division race for quite some time, but we're still trying to figure things out. Like this team is still, that's the other thing I like about this team is not a complete team right now. Like they are winning ball games, and we're not going to see Shane Bieber again, but we haven't seen him since April. Gavin Williams hasn't pitched yet. Trevor Stephan is out for the year. He hasn't pitched. And, Jose Ramirez just now looks like he's getting things together. And what did you say before the show? Only 3 players. I have
an OPS over
OPS 800.
Over 800. It's Quan, Naylor, and Fry. That's it. I mean,
one of those guys is out.
Yeah.
One of those guys is hurt. And you beat the Twins without Steven Kwan. Like, I think it's pretty fair to say, like, this team is not complete. It is not firing on all cylinders. Like, a good bullpen hides a lot of warts. The starting pitching has been terrible for the most part. Like, this team is playing well, and they generally, I would say, are not the best version of themselves yet. Will they get there? Maybe. Like, there's still a lot of questions to answer. But when you win 30 games in, out of 47 right now, and you have yet to be a complete team with all the answers, that's pretty good. Like that should bode well for the rest of the year. Obviously, a lot of things can happen, but I don't know. I think it's pretty fair to say this is not a team that's really completely found its best version of itself. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. We're hoping that they're going to get healthy enough to, have some of those guys, that Williams this will be a blip and we'll forget about it, that Quan isn't going to have another issue. But yeah, it's one of those things where, and all teams deal with injuries. All teams deal with varying degrees of this. I mean, every team's missing probably like 17 pitchers with the weight rate we see guys going down and getting hurt. But they're trending in the right direction. Jose has looked different. Brennan and Freeman have certainly had their ups and downs, and those guys are going to stay streaky. But right now it's the upswing, and we're benefiting. And it's just the way of it. Hopefully, it's the same thing with Jimenez, right? Like there are some streaky hitters on this team, lately. And we just you got to ride it when they're doing well, and hopefully they will have more ups and downs. And then when they hit the postseason, they'll be up then, and then we can ride it all the way.
Yeah, I mean, in a different frame of mindset, we could sit here and complain about we're not going to do that because it was a good weekend. There's no reason to. And then the comments would tell us we're negative. But, they didn't walk again all weekend. They're not. This is just, let's just face at this point, this is a team that's not going to walk. I don't think that's going to change. So, like you said, for better or for worse, this team is going to be streaky offensively because they're not going to walk. But all that being said, they're 5th in the league in runs scored. And you just mentioned that, one of the guys has an 800 OPS is out. And that leaves 2 healthy guys with an OPS over 800. So they're still scoring runs. Like they're a better team they were a year ago offensively. And some of these guys are still trying to figure things out. Tyler Freeman had a heck of a weekend. Will Brennan had the walk-off home run. Really what the Guardians did on Sunday was very cruel to the Twins, if I'm being honest. Like you gave them a chance to come back when they deserve no chance because the Twins couldn't hit anything all day. Tanner Bybee was really good, and the bullpen was really good. And they didn't hit any hard hit balls off of Class A. He hit a batter, and then he got 2 ground balls that should have ended the inning. But instead, you let the Twins have hope, and then you let them bring in their ace reliever, who, by the way, gave up the game go-ahead home run to Jose Ramirez on Friday, only to walk it off on him again on Sunday. That was just demoralizing. Like, that was very cruel for the Guardians to let the Twins. I think that's what they did on purpose. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to say the Guardians really wanted to just be very cruel and unusual to the Twins and let them back into the game only to pull the rug out from under them again with their best reliever. Yeah, that's the version I'm choosing to believe.
Just that they're as cruel as possible. That last inning was just, it was like, because it wasn't just the, Rocchio deciding he can outrun Byron Buxton after hesitating. It wasn't just Naylor throwing a little high and Clase not recovering and then Naylor not throwing home. It's also then Andres nearly getting thrown out and them needing an instant replay for the inning to not be essentially over at that point, because who knows what happens. They're not going to intentionally walk. Naylor in that situation. So it's just, yeah, it was very weird. And then you had the crushing victory. And yeah, I mean, you went from low lows to high highs so quickly, and it was the ultimate high with the walk-off and the sweep.
Yeah, and even with the replay of Jimenez at second base, the umpires did not have to review that, which that's going to send Twins fans just down a complete drain.
Well, Twins fans are already kind of at that point.
It's not great over there for them, and I if I'm being completely honest, I understand, but the crew chief, that was a crew chief review. The Guardians were out of challenges. They challenged already and they lost. So the umpires could have said, no, we're not challenging this Andres Jimenez getting back to second base thing. They could have said no because they challenged the play with Rocchio at second base in the top half of the ninth inning. So the umpires could have said, nope, we're not challenging. We're not going to review that. So I guess point to Stephen Vogt for being a good politician there and getting them to review that, because if they would have said no, Jimenez is out, and then what happens, right? So that's not going to add to the Twins fans' struggles at all. Despite the fact they did come back and tie the game, it looks like they never got over a win probability of 48. So it was still pretty 50-50, but they never quite got over the hump that they were going to win, probably because the Guardians were the home team, which that always favors in those situations. But yeah, this was a very strange weekend, but it was a good one. And it was, all these wins led me to think about one thing. As I said, that this team has not really been the best version of themselves yet. They did a lot of things this weekend that showed a lot of good signs, I think. So we're going to talk about that in the next segment. We'll talk about where we're at the starting pitching, because it was a good weekend for them. And obviously they haven't been that good. And then before we end today's show, we have to talk about Francisco Lindor and the Mets coming back to town. We asked you on Friday how you felt about that. We'll give our answers to that, and we'll talk about that situation all on a Monday edition of Locked On Guardians. At one time or another, we are all faced with dealing with life insurance at some point. Trust me, I've been there. Never thought I would get there in my life, but I've had to talk about it. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. I had life insurance at my job. They offered it through one of our plans, and then actually things changed. My company got acquired, and the health insurance changed, so they took away life insurance. So I had to go back out and talk to somebody else about that outside of what my company offered. And for people who have high-risk jobs, that might be an issue too. And, some companies just don't offer life insurance. And if you leave your job, it may not come with you either. So you want to find an option that is personal to you and not personal to your business or your job specifically. And Policygenius can help you compare those options with a team of licensed experts to help you through it. And they're not beholden to one policy or one specific company, so they can give you unbiased advice from that team as well. And if you don't believe us, thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs are out there for you to take a look at as well. When you take a look at Policygenius, check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes. See how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB. Speaking of things that you never thought you'd have to do in your adult life, Yahoo Finance. You have to look at your portfolio at some point. I'm someone who has a 401k. Quite frankly, I need to do a better job of moving my money that I'm trying to save for retirement one day, if that comes up, into a place where I can manage it and I can do it with a lot of understanding and a great deal towards the future. So if you want to grow your portfolio to deal with things like inflation, paying off your debt or mortgage, just get some financial freedom. Yahoo Finance is the place you can do that. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. They are the number one finance destination. They give you a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, independent research, customizable charts, and so much more. And a community of over 90 million users a month. That's a real strength to help you find financial success. So if you're looking for comprehensive financial news and analysis, you're looking to do something for your future financially, visit the brand behind every great investor. That's yahoofinance.com. Yahoofinance.com. That is yahoofinance.com. And as we said, the Mets are coming to town on Monday. The return of Francisco Lindor in front of Guardians fans for the first time since he was traded. That'll be interesting. And you can listen to all those comments from Tom Hamilton and the team on your SiriusXM app. Just search Guardians. We're not going to quite get into that yet, but Jeff, there's one thing I want to point out about this weekend's games that I was really impressed with. Let me know what you think. So Friday, obviously, the offense really wasn't great. Tristan pitched well. He had the double plays. You know, he was working around some walks. He wasn't fantastic, but he was good enough. And you had the home runs from Fry, which, you know, he's been great. And then I don't know why teams keep bringing lefties in against Naylor when they know that they face Fry next. That's a good discussion we can get into. But you got a late home run from Jose Ramirez. So he played the hero off of their elite closer, Jhoan Duran. Saturday, the Guardians go out and they hit the crap out of the ball and they win in a blowout. Doesn't matter what Logan Allen does. He looks good. They win in a blowout. And then Sunday, you play well for 8 innings. Tanner Bybee pitches well. The offensive approach.
Who wants to play well? They had the lead, but I don't know if I'd say offensively they didn't play very well. I mean, offensively,
the offense approach leaves a lot to be desired on
Chris
Sunday.
Paddock had just gotten absolutely obliterated by the Yankees in the last start, and against Cleveland, he set a new career high in terms of he had never gotten 8 innings before in his entire career.
Okay, so there's that aspect, right? It's a close game. They didn't do well offensively, and then defensively with 2 outs, they just completely forgot how to play baseball. And then they come back and they beat Jhoan Duran again. So you have 3 games this weekend that the Guardians won in very different ways, right? You have the blowout win. You have a really tight contested battle on Friday that was a good game. And then on Sunday, the offense wasn't great. The pitching was. And then you had Little League defense with 2 outs in the 9th inning, in which a good team probably wins that game. Like if the Twins are a better team, that's why I'm questioning how good they are. A better team than the Twins probably takes advantage of that, right? Maybe they're not as good as we think. But the Guardians overcame those mistakes on Sunday and came back to win. Instead of getting down about doing that and giving up the chance for a sweep, they came back and they found a way to win that game against, again, Jhoan Duran is not a slouch. They beat him twice this weekend. I know they didn't play against Joe Ryan. They didn't play against Pablo Lopez. But the fact the Guardians were able to win this series by having to do it different ways all weekend long, and then to come back the way they did on Sunday after almost giving it away, and again, notwithstanding that the Twins, a better team, might have actually taken advantage of that. I don't know. I feel pretty good about that. I feel pretty good that the Guardians were able to win this series by kind of doing it different ways. They didn't have to win by playing a specific way all weekend. They were able to do different things this weekend to win games, and that was, I thought, a very good showing, and it gave me a lot of confidence about where this team is at, even though I said this team has not been the best version of themselves.
No, I agree. It's what did I always say last year? It's like good teams find ways to win, bad teams find ways to lose. And they had 2 tough games and 2 walk-off wins this weekend. And is it things come together at the right time? Yeah. Like, you know, they benefited from that, but they've also had the points where they've been the opposite end. Like they're a bit of a streaky team. So it's nice to see things come together. Heck, I mean, I don't think any of us had us on our bingo ticket as Kyle Manzardo's first extra base hit coming off a lefty on Saturday. Like, you know,
and RBI.
Yeah. And, you know, it doesn't have to, it's not going to always be the negative. It's not going to always be the positive. So just in this one, I mean, again, they swept a good team. They took care of stuff in the division. Listen, that Friday game, I was just sitting there, and when, you know, Heron's got an ERA under 1 and that got away from him, but also you have to sit back and give credit to Rocco Baldelli. I can't say his name. Rocco, like, playing the cards right? Like, he pinch hit both lefties and made that a very tough situation. Now, normally Tim Heron's been great against everyone. This one got close, and there were some questionable strikes. If we're being honest, like, it was not but I also think, like, if you're going to be the team that gets a bad strike against you, when you start throwing hissy fits on the field like they did on Friday, that sticks with the umpiring crew, and then you're setting yourself up for more poor borderline strikes later. Now, is that ideal? Is that the way it should work? No, I don't think it should. That's why I want robot umpires. But I think this team definitely benefited from that. I mean, it looked not as grand early on, and this was a game, specifically Fridays, where I don't know how McKenzie kept it together with all those walks. It's just they couldn't make contact. I guess it's as simple as that. But they did enough, and there's enough positives. I mean, we can go back. It's like Gaddis, his ERA is going to fall under 2 again. And we can talk about how after that Atlanta series, half of our comments are people saying he needs to be cut or demoted. It's a long season. There's going to be ups and downs for everyone's, that's not a word. I don't think that, at least not how I used it. But this team just keeps taking care of business, and good teams win. Good teams find those ways. Good teams don't give up. And if you quit on this team or give up, you're just missing out on the fun.
Yeah, this team is not a give-up team. That's why, again, I like how this team has responded to those situations. You would have liked to have seen a little more, I don't want to say urgency, because, again, it's May, but some of the stuff we saw in Chicago just generally looked pretty funky. We didn't like that, but they've bounced back in a big way. This is a good series, and, again, I don't want to sit here and say, well, the Twins aren't a good team, like everyone said about the White Sox, too, because the Twins, by and large, most people pick them to win the division. So they're still, and I know that can be subjective as well, but, they're supposed to be a good team. And the Guardians did a lot of good things this weekend to beat them. And like you said, good teams find a way to win games. Bad teams find a way to lose them. And a year ago, after that poor defensive 9th inning with 2 outs, like how many times last year that happened to Clase? He blew a save because of things that transpired that inning that, the drop ball at first base was his fault, but then that shouldn't have scored Buxton because Naylor made the poor throw and made the poor throwing decision. And that shouldn't happen either because Rocchio, instead of throwing to first, decided to step on second. Like a year ago, that would have been a loss because the Guardians just played like that with Clase on the mound. Things spiraled and the offense didn't come back. But this year they did. And sometimes sequence of events do help you in that situation. So the important thing is, too, the Guardians starting pitching got deep into games all weekend long, and they saved the bullpen. The bullpen was good once again outside of, a dropped ball from Clase, which has nothing to do with this pitching. But we'll get into more of the starters. No, not ideal. We'll get into more of the starters a little bit. We're going to talk about the umpire strike zone over the weekend, and one factor in that we probably should point out that we have not been pointing out on the show. And then as we end the show, we will talk about the return of Francisco Lindor and the Mets over this coming week. So stick around for all of that and more fun.
But first, we have to talk about our friends over at LinkedIn. Are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion with a B member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the right people. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day, not 30 like normal, a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started.
Mets and Guardians are going to get started at 6:10 Eastern on Monday as the series gets going, and you can check out all the action on your Sirius XM app, just searching Guardians. I was looking up the stat too, by the way. This is a really interesting one. So on 0-2 counts, the filters have disappeared on me in terms of the stat. I was looking it up, but the league is hitting 190 on 3-2 counts, like the entire league. If you take the cumulative of the entire league, right, it's 190 on 3-2 counts. Jose Ramirez is hitting something like, what was it, 333 on 3-2 count on 3-2 counts. Like, it's something very bonkers. The way it was set up, I lost the stats, but just incredible what this guy does on 3-2 counts. Like the what was it? The at bat versus, was it Bailey Ober on Saturday, or which day was it? It was Bailey
Ober was Saturday.
Yeah, they took him deep. I mean, the Jhoan Duran thing was insane too, because I have no idea why. Yeah, twice this weekend, Jhoan Duran decided to throw like his third best pitch to Cleveland, and he got burned both times. So that was an interesting call too. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but Jose Ramirez is one of the top players in the league in terms of hitting with 2 strikes. Like a lot of hitters get worse in 3-2 counts and just 2-strike counts in general. Jose Ramirez gets better, and that's just a marvel to me that most hitters do not do well in those counts, and Jose is incredible. And I think he's starting to get locked in. I think he's popping up some pitches on Sunday, getting under them. He missed 2 home runs by a few feet where he just got under it. I have some concerns overall about like just the fact that he's getting under some of this stuff a lot, but still an amazing talent in what he's been able to do this year, despite not being at his best. Those extended pitches are crazy.
He's heating up. Like that's what we're seeing now. It's like, we could make the NBA Jam joke. We won't, but like he's turning it around. We'll see how far he does. Like the chase rate is definitely going to dictate just how far he can go.
It's been getting a little better.
It is getting a little better. There's still a bit of it, but I mean, if you have Jose and Josh and Quan looking like a guy who's taking the leap, all of a sudden you have 3 plus hitters. That makes the lineup very different.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we hope Bo Naylor gets it going offensively. You'll get Quan back. Quan, by the way, they're hoping he can go on a rehab assignment either next week or in the next 10 days. So
yeah, he's heading off a T, right, and doing that.
He took VP.
BP, that's what it was.
So
BP.
That's an encouraging sign. David Fry's been a revelation, which has been awesome. Will Brennan's been hot and cold, but it's been good. So, and if Manzardo gets it going too, things could get even better. And Jimenez, Jimenez might be always a streaky hitter, but right now he is back above 100 WRC plus. He's having a good May. By the way, Jose Ramirez, 3 home runs this year on 3-2 counts. He's hitting 353. The league as a whole is hitting 190, like I said, again, on 3-2 counts. So when the league hits 190 and you're hitting 353 with 3 homers, that is incredible. Ironically enough, Francisco Lindor also 3 home runs on 3-2 counts this year. That's tied for the league lead with also Jesse Winker. Those are 2 names I was not expecting to be on that list. Okay, so we got a good start from Tanner Bybee on Sunday. Logan Allen was good on Saturday with a lot of run support. Tristan McKenzie got into the 7th inning on Friday despite some hiccups along the way, and he was able to keep the Twins at bay. Sound like Shooter McGavin. Away, bay, play, I may. What's your confidence meter at on the starters? This is another good weekend for them. We talked about how good they were against the White Sox, and we're like, well, it's the White Sox. And then they did fairly well against the Rangers for the most part. And then, good weekend series from the starters. I think I was at a 6 before. What are you at on the starters right now as far as the rotation?
I think I'm going to stay at 5. McKenzie's shown some signs of being better. Bybee's been fantastic for 2 starts. Allen, it was a needed start. Carrasco has pitched well, but I'm still a bit incredulous. Lively, I have no idea how he keeps doing it, but he's doing it. So, yeah, it's one of the situations where I'm not going to sit here and doubt it because every single time, I mean, it just makes me look kind of foolish. But at the same time, I can't also explain how it keeps happening.
Yeah, same here. Guardians are 12th in the league in May and ERA as a starting staff at 353. That is not including on Sunday, so that'll get even better. The FIP is 453, but that puts them in 12th overall. So the fact that, again, they're 30-17 and the rotation in the month of April was horrid outside of Shane Bieber for 2 starts. Things are going pretty well, and I think the starters are trending in the right direction. So the more and more you can build up on those kind of series with that pitching will be really good to see. One of the reasons I think we need to acknowledge here is we've been pretty hard on Bo Naylor defensively and offensively. He's been bad offensively, and
it's the 4th worst hitter on this team right now.
Yeah, the walks are the only thing holding him up offensively right now, and defensively, in terms of throwing runners out, it's been a mess, and blocking has been bad. But the one area he is not struggling is framing. He is in the 96th percentile in framing. I know Twins fans are all up in their arms about the umpiring over the weekend, and I I truthfully have to say I can't blame them. Some of the umpiring behind home plate definitely did not help them, but some of that is a credit to Bo Naylor and his framing, and Austin Hedges and his framing. So, where we've been hard on Bo Naylor defensively and offensively, there is one area where he is helping this team, and that is with framing. So, help you beat the Twins over the weekend.
No, he definitely did. I mean, again, we can. I said, I understand the Twins fans' frustration. I do. Is it sometimes comical to the heights that they take that? Yes, but
everyone's dramatic online.
I mean, every good catcher should be stealing multiple strikes per game. And listen, is it happening in less than ideal situations? If you're a Twins fan, yes, but at the same time, like, that is what a good catcher and good framer should be doing.
Carlos Correa, instead of blaming the umpires on Friday, said that he wanted to see the umpires be fitted with PitchCom so they knew what pitch was coming, and thinking that would help them be more prepared to call the pitch. And not the first time I've heard that. Friend of the show, Scott Bybee, also continues to tell me that he thinks that's the best option, is have the challenge system and also have the umpire wired in to know what pitch is coming to, so he's prepared to, if it's a curveball or whatever it is. I'm not opposed to that either. I definitely want the challenge system, but I definitely think that not a bad idea to have the umpire tuned into what pitch is coming either, so that way, he's prepared to call something too. And also, he knows to get out of the way if something bad happens too. If there's a curveball, he knows where the ball should be going.
Fair enough.
Yeah, not a bad one.
Yeah.
All right, so Mets on Monday for a 3-game series. The pitching matchups are irrelevant for the most part. I mean, it's not irrelevant, but I think it's Tyler McGill on Monday versus Lively. So there's that. Yeah, Tyler McGill. I always get him and Trevor mixed up, even though I don't think they're related. Tuesday is Carrasco and Hauser. Both have been pretty bad this year, but Carrasco's been better lately, so we'll see. And then Wednesday in the finale is McKenzie and Jose Quintana, who's also been terrible. So Guardians will miss Luis Severino and Sean Manaea, who have been the Mets' best pitchers this year. But the real story is going to be the return of Francisco Lindor. So not only have we not seen Francisco Lindor since 2020, but Cleveland fans at home have not seen him since 2019, because obviously 2020 there were no fans. I'm going to be very curious to see what the reception is. I think it's going to be mixed. Yeah, I think the Guardians will be pretty receptive. He'll probably get a hype video or whatever you want to call it, tribute. I think it's going to be mixed overall. I have no ill will towards the guy personally. I have nothing but good things to say about him, covering him in the minors, truthfully, and I've heard the same things in the majors. Someone at the press box in Lake County told me a good story last week about him, just about how he carried himself throughout the years as a major leaguer. I have no ill will towards the guy personally. We'll welcome him back. He always wanted to go to a bigger market. I feel like
he did.
I think if let's just keep this in a vacuum right here. If Cleveland, because we know this isn't going to happen, but if Cleveland and the Mets offered him the same exact contract, I think he still would have gone to the Mets.
Agreed.
So I think that's a factor there. But it's all worked out. I would like to have Francisco Lindor. I know he's struggling a little bit this year offensively, but you're kidding yourself if you don't think he's a great player, and he's still not a huge talent, contract aside. But Jimenez has been good, and that's still been a very thing. And then next year, your middle infield's Jimenez and Bazana. So
yeah,
all going to work out great.
Agreed. No, here's the thing. Lindor always put on Front Street that he wanted to get paid, and he bet on himself, and that was always the plan. And he got a crud ton of money. So, and I also don't think I want to be the team to give him that contract that he wanted. That was also part of my
free
calculus.
agency is a fool's game.
So
currently.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, but I think it's going to be more negative than positive based on what I've seen, but I will be curious to see overall. I mean, anyone who kind of does the money way out of town, and then some of the Frankie versus Francisco comments, I know also didn't engender much love in terms of some of those. So we'll have to see.
Do you think people will throw money at him the way they did Albert Bell?
No. That was harder because he went to the rival. That was a rough situation on multiple levels. I also wouldn't want to throw anything at Albert Bell at that time, but just me.
Oh, no, I'm also not wasting money throwing it on the field.
No, I'm not. No.
I hope he gets a good reception. I do. I don't think it's his fault that he was never going to get paid here. So.
But we want to thank you all for joining us. We'll be talking about this entire series. And hey, college baseball season is moving into conference tournaments. So rate and review, download daily. Make sure you're doing all that fun stuff. It helps. Thank you all, and go Guardians, go.